Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Rewind and Reflect, where we believe in the universal truth that there is no such thing as mistakes or coincidences. And we are here to share our life experience on that subject with you. My name is Deb Miller.
Hi, everybody. I am Susan Doyle. It's nice to see you, Deb.
I like that little
B.
jingle. I like that little jingle that we had. Very tropical.
Yeah, well, truth be told, I would like to say that I picked it on purpose because it's summer, but in actuality, I picked it up because the song that we normally play for some reason wouldn't play. And then the backup song that I play when the first song won't allow me to play wouldn't allow me to play either. So I panicked and just hit something.
Oh, all right. Well,
So I
listen.
don't know if we've gotten, like too many free plays
Oh,
on, I'm not sure, but
perhaps.
that's, it was not a calculated
Well, I
decision.
guess the opening will be a surprise every day from now. It's either
Yeah,
the difference in the song or me not being able to get the words out right or whatever. We like to
yeah.
keep our audience on their toes.
Uh, And you and I on our toes,
Yes,
to
for
be
sure.
honest. My God. So I have to tell you that I had a little bit of an epiphany.
Oh, I love it.
So I was in my yoga class last Saturday, and you know how much I live to go to that class on Saturdays. And I live to hear what Brandon has to say. Um, and I don't know how it came about, but he was talking about how, or maybe, to be honest, I got to rewind. I was doing one of his classes here at my house, on audio. He does a podcast, he downloads his voice, so I was doing one of his classes, and he was saying that, he's got two studios sort of like on the opposite ends of the state, right? And he goes back and forth, and he's never felt that it was heavy or a hardship because he feels this pull in him to expose, deliver, what have you, this practice to as many people who that will listen, because it has been so monumental in his own life that he feels like he needs to, pay it forward. And he started talking about how it's really his calling to do this, that he is, and he's just one of the fortunate ones that he can make a living, right, out of his calling. And so I'm like, and I've, for so long, at least for the last 3.5 years, I have been like, my career, I've sort of wrestled with, my career, and should be something that is, really important to me. And then I was like, well, maybe if find some hobbies, right? That I'll be like, okay, this is what I do 9 to 5, but this is what really I am passionate about. And then I'm sort of like toying with the whole thing. And then here's where, like, there is no such thing as coincidence, right? So I just started listening to books on like Spotify. I was always the one who needed to like hold the book and manipulate the book and turn the pages, but I find it kind of, I like it when I'm walking the dog and everything. So Phil Knight, do you know who Phil Knight is?
I don't think so. Oh, isn't he a sports guy?
Oh God, I'm so proud of you. I
I'm going to
could
go even further. Is he a basketball player?
plot right now. Okay, stop right there. That's Phil Jackson, who was the coach for the Chicago Bulls when they won all the. Phil Knight is the founder of Nike.
Oh, okay. No, but he is a
So
sports guy,
he is a sports guy, sort of
sort
like
of.
ancillary sports guy,
Yeah.
but I'll take it, right? So he wrote, this popped up on my Spotify, weeks ago, that he wrote a memoir about the beginning, how Nike came to be, right? So I'm like, oh my God, this is it. Like, so I've been listening to it, and to truth be told, it at parts it like droned on. He literally went like year, every chapter was a year, starting in like 1962. I'm like, holy shit. Anyway, the other day, right after I hear this from Brandon, I am at the end, towards the end of the book.
Mhm.
And he stops writing at like 1980. And then his epilogue is all these things that happened. And bottom line is he started with like a $5,000 loan from his dad. He is
Mhm.
now worth
Mhm.
100 and something billion dollars, like
Yeah.
crazy money, like insane money, right? And so towards the end of the book, and I have it popped up on my computer so I can read this because it was really so like this came to me right after I heard this from Brandon, and he said, "Do not settle for a job or a profession or even a career." He said, "Seek a calling. Even
Mhm.
if you don't know what that means, seek it anyway. If you're following your calling, the fatigue will be easier to bear, the disappointments will be fuel, the highs will be like nothing you've ever felt."
Mhm.
And he went on to say that, again, he was fortunate. His calling was sneakers. Like he just knew this in his soul. And he was fortunate enough
No
to,
pun intended.
yeah, SOUL rather than SOLE. Um, and so, he was again saying, just like Brandon did, he was fortunate enough to be able to make money
Yeah.
from his calling. And so I really like kind of thought about it and I'm thinking about it and I'm like, you know what? Like I enjoy the team that I work with. I really like the women that I work with. And I am in essence still in the wellness space, but my calling from the minute I experienced my very first like aerobics class back then was teaching, is teaching. And I'm fortunate enough to get paid a little bit and have a free membership, but truth be told, that is truly
Mm,
what fills me up.
yeah. So what keeps you from making that your full-time career?
I did for a while. I did for a while, and I didn't. I was not. I could. I made a lot of mistakes, I think.
So you learned a
Back
lot of
then.
lessons. You learned a lot of lessons.
Yeah. I mean, it was 20 years
There's
ago.
no such
Yeah.
thing as a mistake.
Right. There are things if I went back to it that I would do differently that would give me a healthier outlook and a more fulfilling platform.
Good.
So I think about it. I mean, truth be told, my age is something that plays into that a little bit. I mean, I think I could teach yoga till I'm 105, but the
Yeah.
other modes of teaching, maybe not so much, but I really like all of a sudden I just had this again, it just sort of spoke to me that your career can be something that you do 9 to 5 to be able to pay your bills,
Mhm.
and your calling can be something completely different.
Oh, for sure.
And always, always muddled those things together and couldn't find clarity. And I found it. I feel really good.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, first of all, so many people, all right, I'll speak for myself, but I think there's a lot of people that are in my boat. They don't know what fuels their spirit. They're like they're working because they need to pay the bills and do the 401k and get the insurance and all of that. And that's what needs to be done. But for so many years, I did that and I knew that it was not what I wanted to do, but I didn't have any hobbies. There was nothing that was, that I love to do. Like I wouldn't come home and paint and be like, oh, this is, my happy time or not. It never was, I didn't feel like I really wasn't creative. I wasn't good at cooking. Like the whole night, like I could not find it. I could not find what it was that I loved to do. Gardening, everybody has their thing. I didn't have a thing. And that was forever and ever. And it wasn't until now I know it's so clear to me, and this only happened very, very recently, that I know that my creative outlet and what I really like to do is write. I like to write. Now, I wrote my book because I did not have a job at the time, and I put down on paper things that I'd always wanted to do if I had the time, okay? And that's one of them was write the book. So I kind of checked that box and I was like, okay, I did all the things on the list. And then I was like, I don't know. I love working with nonprofits, although that can be very demanding and frustrating
Hmm.
because there's so many people in this world that just want to do really good things but can't get the funding, and it breaks my heart. So it can be frustrating that way. However, what has come to me recently, when I was writing my first book, that I was watching, I don't know where it came up. I was either reading or watching it, and somebody said these words: writers have to write. Writers must write. Like it's something inside of them that they just have to write. They have to be writing. And I was like, oh, I don't feel that way. So I must not be a writer. But now I'm starting to write, and now I see where that comes from. Like I'm really itching every day to get up and put pen to paper, and I have been. And so now I'm feeling like, okay, this is what my calling is. Again, it's so easy for it's such a blessing when your calling is something that you can make money on and really make your living.
Hmm.
Um, And I think a lot of people can do it, but they're just afraid to because you're leaving the security of a job.
Yeah. I
No,
think that's where I am right now, like a little bit of fear that, you know, I
yeah,
won't do it differently this time or, um, but have you always journaled though? Have you
no.
always journaled? Oh, you haven't.
I've
Amazing.
never journaled. I've never done anything
Hmm.
prior to writing the book. I didn't care for journaling because I felt like every time I would go back and read my journaling, when I did journal, like in rehab and stuff, they make you journal.
Hmm.
It was just so heartbreaking to me, the pain that I would read. And I was like, I don't want to revisit these days. So I'm not putting it in paper, but
Yeah, but isn't journaling, I mean, so to me, journaling is an avenue in which you finally let it go. Like you put it on paper and then you let it go. Like you could light it on fire and it's gone.
oh yeah, yeah, you could.
It's not really there for us to have to revisit and kind of beat ourselves up about it.
Well, that's what I was doing. And so that wasn't
Yeah.
working for me. So I saved when Hunter was sick. I had these calendars. I'm so old school. I still use the paper calendars, the book, the books. And I had my that calendar between surgeries and tests and chemo and all of this stuff and doctor's appointments. I had all of that written down in my paper calendar. And I held on to that, and I still look at that sometimes. And I look at it and I remember that really hard time so that I can be so thankful that that's behind me and that's
Mm.
behind him. And it's same as getting clean and sober. Like you don't regret the past, but you don't shut the door on it either, you know? So I need to keep myself reminded about how difficult it was to get out of that cycle of addiction.
Right.
And, but so I know I'm kind of like talking out of both ends of my mouth right now because I said I don't like looking back and like being sad, but I just never, journaling, day-to-day journaling just never worked for me. Now, what I'm doing now is a little bit of journaling because I'm writing again, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I don't write nonfiction. So, I mean, I write fiction. I write nonfiction. So
Mm-hmm.
I have to talk about myself and what's going on. Um, but I
So
just,
you're sort of on the cusp of melding a career around your calling,
mhm.
which is
I
great.
am. I mean, the book,
So,
One Little Pill is doing really well right now. And so, and I'm not doing any marketing or anything for it. It's reaching people, and that makes me really, really happy.
mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's showing me that I always thought, like, who cares? Who's going to want to hear this? But it's showing me that people are learning, and becoming hopeful and, you know, finding strength through it. So I'm
Do
going
you
to
think
keep
people
writing.
could have more than one calling at a time, or do you think it needs to be like, so like I would have suspected you would have said your calling was to be a sponsor, to be an advocate for the 12-step program because you've really embraced it, you've embodied it, and you have just like Brandon said, and just like I say, is, I feel this obligation to show people or teach people how this has given me so much. I just want to show people that, that it can give them so much. You know what I mean? It's honoring how much, firstly group exercise, but more importantly, yoga has changed my life. And, so I would have, and maybe I'm mistaken. I mean, maybe you can have two callings, or maybe, being a sponsor morphed you into the ability or the desire to write the book, which is now writing, and it has morphed you into writing being your calling. I don't know.
Yeah, sponsorship and working the program is, it's very important and I do enjoy it, but I felt like I could give more back to people by writing the book. Because
Right,
sponsoring can be really hard. It can be really, really hard because and I'm sure with the same with yoga practices, right? You're like, you get it, and you're like, oh my gosh, your perspective in life and your behavior and all of this stuff is gonna change so much, and it's gonna give you so much. But then there's people that don't either buy into it or they're like, nah, this isn't for me. And you're just like, but how can you deny this? How
yeah,
can you deny yourself this? And they're just not ready. So I felt like, of course, I'm always going to be there for anybody who needs help and reaches out. There's no doubt about that. But I just feel like through the book, it can reach more people, and it's more, it's not a two-way discussion. It's like, this is what it does. This is how you do it.
right,
This is how it worked for me,
right.
and take it or leave it kind of thing. You know?
Yeah, I mean, they say, especially with the yoga that I practice and I teach, is, you can come to class. It's a great fitness class. You will get stronger, you will get more flexible. And, if that's what you want, you'll that'll that'll happen. But
Yeah.
then there's going to be a point where you don't grow anymore. There's
Right.
going to be a point that, like that's as far as you're going to go, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's funny because when I first discovered this, I wrote a blog for a while. It's called Eat the Fucking Cookie.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I love it.
Simply because I wanted people to like give themselves permission to eat a fucking cookie. Like, come
Yeah.
on, eat a cookie for God's sakes.
Yeah.
More importantly, myself, I wanted to give myself permission. And oftentimes, funny, like the way that I teach and some of the things that I choose to ruminate about in class is something that, I need to hear. I need that like a little extra reminder. Anyway, I wrote a blog one time about discovering this yoga, and the way that I came about it was, I knew I needed something different. Like I couldn't just keep doing what I was doing. But I also came to it with this mindset of like I wanted to change my physique. I wanted to get a little leaner. I wanted to get a little longer. And I was like, okay, this is how I'm going to do this. And so I really dedicated to myself. And that happened. I mean, it truly happened. It changed the way that I looked. Um, but the reason I stayed in it is because what it did for my head.
Yeah, for mental health. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so that's where I knew that I needed to figure out how to spread the word, so to speak, right? But yeah, I mean, I think with, in regards to what you said is, it's really the adage of you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? I mean, I can lay out the blueprint,
Yeah.
but if somebody doesn't want to, go all the way from foundation to roof,
Hmm.
I can't make them. I can only keep the door open
Right.
and continue to invite them back,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, and that again, you know, requires me to keep in the categories that this is what I was really called to do.
Hmm.
Doesn't necessarily pay my electricity. And I'm
Yeah.
okay, and it's okay. And
Yeah.
for so many years, like I said, so many years, that was so muddled together. Like I could not figure out how to be okay with the separation. And now I'm like, like the light bulb went off.
Yeah.
I had so many. And okay, so here's the other thing. I don't remember the name of the book, The Four Purposes of
Four
Life
purposes of life. Yeah.
by Dan Millman, who originally wrote The Way of the Peaceful Warrior.
Yeah.
I'm reading this book on your recommendation, and I hit a page last night, 34, 35. I do highly recommend people get this book. It's a little book. You can read it in a day. I, of course, have read it in a month because I'm a slow reader and I put it down. I can take it in spurts at the end of
Yeah.
the day.
It's a lot
And
to
to
take
truth be
in.
told, when I read, I fall asleep. So,
Oh.
um, but I hit on a page that he's talking about career versus calling, and he defines it. And I'm like, okay, here is the
Hmm.
third sign that I'm like, okay, this is my defining moment. And it was like such a breath of fresh, like I feel amazing today. I do.
So, okay, so let me ask you this then. Like a lot of people will say, I don't want to make my calling necessarily or what my artistic abilities. I don't want to make that my career because I don't want it to be something that I have to do to pay the bills. And
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like what you're doing. Like you're like,
Correct.
I don't want to, where Brandon was like, he made it into his career and he's thriving, but some people, the stress of having
Yeah.
your passion become your career is
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah.
And you don't like it
There's
after.
where I'm vacillating. There's where I'm sort of I'm sitting with it to see what comes up. But right now, so I guess what I'm saying is right now, having the two things be separate, even though I do get paid a little bit of money to
Yeah.
teach, it's certainly not. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I'm certainly not getting wealthy about I'm wealthy in that my cup is full every time I get to teach, right?
Right.
Um, but like I finally was awake enough to see these signs that I'm like, it doesn't have to be the same. It can
Mm.
be completely different. And it was just this really amazing, like freeing, defining moment for me
Mhm.
in the last
Right.
couple
I
of
hear you.
days.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. And again, I want to emphasize that it's a gift for you to know what your passion is.
Yes, yes, yes.
For so many years, I didn't have it. Like people would be like, so what do you like to do? And I'm like, I love to sit at the beach, I love to read, but I'm not like, oh my God, I love to garden or cook or whatever. I never had that. And I always felt like something's missing. And I tried everything. I tried the art classes, I tried the cooking classes. I didn't try gardening classes because that would just not work. But I
That requires outside
outside
sweating,
and bugs and
dirt, and
yeah,
bugs.
right. Yeah. And the saddest part was like I've tried that before, planting and stuff and I nothing ever really took for me. So I always felt like I didn't have a green thumb and why torture the plant and myself by trying to keep it alive. So anyways,
But in this book, in the Dan Millman book, he defines career,
yeah.
calling, and
And
hobbies. So like your
oh,
hobbies, I have a hobby of sitting on the beach too. I mean, I don't get
yeah.
to do it as often as you do, but um, you know, that is a hobby of mine. Relaxing on the beach is a hobby of mine.
Yeah. It's a good
Yeah,
hobby. I like having
it
that
is a
hobby.
really good hobby.
Yeah. So I mean, we're very blessed to have jobs and to have callings and to have again, I don't know about my hobbies. I guess my hobbies would be like reading because I love to read. My passion is writing and my job is my job working with nonprofits. So
Yeah, yeah,
um but the worst thing that I can imagine is going back to the daily grind, working for a paycheck for something that you do not believe in, or you just know is, oh, I couldn't do it for one more second. I could not do it for one more second. And so,
yeah. I mean, I feel like I don't dread turning on my computer, and it is, I am very fortunate that I can work from home and, be very loose about it. But it is still in the wellness space.
yeah.
Um, oh, and then I had a fourth sign. I forgot to tell you this.
Oh,
Last night I'm flipping through the channels after I read several pages in the book, and I come across this documentary, so to speak, on regular network TV about Dick Vitale. Do you remember him?
of course I know Dick Vitale.
So
Yeah.
it's called Dickie V. And this guy,
He's here in Sarasota. They do a children's.
yes, yes, he is. He was one of the very first cancer patients to be treated at Sarasota Memorial Hospital. And I believe that he is cancer free and healthy now. This documentary sort of ended in 2022 when he had his last chemo treatment. And, how sad it is that he made his fortune, so to speak, with his voice, and he had cancer on his vocal cords or something. And I don't want to muddle up the story, but here is a guy
Yeah.
who got his accounting degree, went to work for a plumbing company in the account, and he was like, I cannot do this. Can't do this. You know, and he made a career out of this call to college basketball
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and has redefined the platform as it stands today.
Not only that, but he has raised millions of dollars.
$60 million, they said, as of 2022, as of the end, as of the production of that
Yeah.
special about him.
For pediatric oncology.
Mm-hmm.
Is he has his gala here every year, and you can't even get in it. There's a waiting list,
Yes.
and it's
Yes.
thousands of dollars to get a
Yes.
ticket. And but God bless him. He he's a special human being. So he took his passion and turned it into a purpose because of his situation that,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
he's helped a lot of people.
So that was sign number 4. That was sort of the icing on the cake last night, because I had already had this defining, like, this
Yeah.
feeling and this moment and this revelation. And then last night when I was lying in bed watching TV, I was like, this is the icing on the cake right here,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
And the beautiful thing is we can do it all. We can do it all.
Yes.
And if you're feeling like, yeah, but I'm stuck or whatever, like just plant the seed, man, and watch the universe take it over, and put you exactly where you're meant to be in this world.
Amen. That is the perfect segue to end is, yeah, I mean, like, just throw it up in the air. The universe will catch it and show you the way.
It's so true.
We would love to hear from everybody.
Mhm.
How about you? I mean, is your career your calling? Do you have a calling that's separate from your career? Are you struggling with what does that mean? What does it look like? What are your hobbies? Like, what fuels your soul? Um, we'd love to hear from you. We have an email, rewind and reflect with us at gmail.com. You can DM us. Um, we'd love to hear from you. What else? Where else can they
Nothing.
find
I'm
us?
just laughing because what do they say? Back, you can back into our DM or what is that saying? Back into I don't know, whatever the crazy
I
things.
don't know the lingo,
I know
sis.
when you
I
say you can
mean,
DM us.
I think it's huge that we even get this thing on social media.
I know
And we love to hear from you guys. We love the reactions. I do have to say that I got to give a shout out to a lot of the people who do actually take my classes in person and tell me that they listen and tell me that they loved what we talked about and that they're looking forward to hearing the next one. And, um, you know, that makes me happy.
Yeah, of course. All right.
All
Well,
right,
hopefully we're
sweet.
making,
Until next time.
yes, namaste. Love you all.
Love you.